Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatch, and it's another rainy morning out in the backyard blind. I once again have a Walmart bag on my new 200 to 800 millimeter lens to protect it. I had a commenter tell me that I was setting a bad example by not buying a fancy lens cover, but I thought I was setting a good example by showing that you can protect your lens without spending a bunch of money. Anyway, that's a debate for the comment section, I suppose. But anyhow, today I am using the R7, and with its 1.6 crop, I'll have 1,280 millimeters full frame equivalent. And normally if the birds are landing on my perches that are along the handrail that are only about 10 or 12 feet away, I don't need that at all. 800 millimeters full frame equivalent is fine. So the 100 to 500 on the R7 is fine. But lately the birds have been landing in the Leland cypress, which is about 10 or 15 feet further away. So using the 800 millimeter end of this lens and multiplying that times the 1.6 crop on the R7, giving me 1,280 millimeters is pretty handy. It's been kind of a struggle this morning. Haven't seen many birds. The first bird I saw, and I was out here for a pretty good while, was a Carolina chickadee, and it was in the Leland cypress and blocked by a branch, but I think I got a shot of it. I ended up needing 6400 ISO to get this Carolina chickadee shot, and it's only 1/60th of a second, so there was a lot of motion blur, but I really wanted to keep my ISO down because, as you can see, even after going through Topaz Denoise AI, the pictures just don't look good when you're starting out with 6400 ISO. I know some people think I should use a faster shutter speed and go higher ISO. I just don't like the high ISO look at all, and the rest of the pictures are a more comfortable ISO in this video. About an hour later, I was able to get a shot of a female northern cardinal. By this time, there was a little bit more light, and I was able to use a little bit more shutter speed and at the same time have less ISO. So these are 2500 ISO. I love the beautiful female northern cardinal. Look at the beautiful colors on this bird. And she perched on one of the perches on my back porch. And because of that, I only needed 311 millimeters. And at that focal length, the lens is wide open at f7.1. So all of these are 311 millimeters, f7.1, 1/100th of a second, and 2500 ISO. Just a beautiful bird, the female northern cardinal. Got a little different design on my plastic bag lens cover this morning. Over here, I've got it tied down with a couple of rubber bands, and this area where I need to reach the zoom ring, I've got it nice and open, and you can see only about to here is out in the rain. The rest of the whole setup is inside the blind, but it does keep water from getting down into this area, which could then get pumped into the lens. I mean, it is weather sealed to a certain extent, and so is the 100 to 500. But if I know I'm going to be working in the rain, I might as well put a little bag on it to help protect it a little bit. It would probably be fine with absolutely nothing. This is a millet plant that's growing right on the property line between my house and the neighbor's house, and I haven't mowed it and they haven't mowed it, and so it's grown up nice and full, and now I get pictures of birds on it. This is a northern mockingbird in the rain on the millet plant. A male downy woodpecker showed up on the porch, and I have my suet feeder on a branch that's sitting like this, and I have another branch that's leaning the other way near it, and I got photographs of the male downy woodpecker in the rain on both of those perches. Here's the male downy woodpecker that was on one of the perches on the back porch, and as you can see, I'm only at 1/100th of a second, and I probably should have been a little bit faster in this situation because the bird was really moving around quite a bit, and most of my shots had motion blur, and I'm only at 500 ISO, so I could have gone a little bit faster on the shutter speed and brought the ISO up to maybe 2000 and had a lot more keepers. But I was still able to bag about 3 keepers while the woodpecker was briefly on this perch before it flew over to the next perch where the suet feeder is and enjoyed itself a nice breakfast. The beautiful male downy woodpecker. We used to see a squirrel out here all the time with a divot in its ear, and we nicknamed it Rodney, and he showed up again this morning. It's the first time I've seen him in months. Here's Rodney the squirrel looking over one of the perches on the back porch. You can see rain all around him, and I'm at 500 millimeters f8 on this shot, which is wide open at 500 millimeters. And this shot is the only 800 millimeter shot in the entire video. And you can see the little divot in Rodney's ear. He's pretty cute. and not too bad about tearing up my bird feeders. He's got a friend who tears up the bird feeders quite a bit. Then an eastern Phoebe landed in the Leland cypress, but in a part of the Leland cypress that's closer than a lot of the rest of it. It's a really big tree. And I zoomed to where it completely filled the frame, and I was at 637 millimeters. So whatever that is times 1.6 was my full frame equivalent. I have a pretty good compromise in this set of photos between shutter speed at 1/160th and ISO at 2000 of the beautiful lemony-bellied eastern Phoebe. The lemony-bellied name is what I call it. It's just called an eastern Phoebe, and I love the beautifully bokeh-fied background in this shot. This is one of my favorite perches in the Leland cypress because the bird's quite a ways in the foreground of the tree. Even though it is in the tree, this branch just kind of pokes out in an unusual direction. I didn't have a whole lot of time to shoot this morning because my daughter's in town from college for the Christmas break, and we are going to a nice hibachi restaurant, which she loves and I love and Heather enjoys, so that's going to be fun. So I appreciate you joining me for this short one. A lot of fun. This is my first time shooting songbirds with the R7 and the 200-800, and I'm really pleased with it. Hopefully, sorry, there was a bird in the Leland. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, reach down, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see some more, subscribe, hit the bell, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye from the Backyard Blind.